everyone, it's Mary Ellen, and welcome back to my channel. We talk about all things related to the storytelling industry. And today, I've made a really big decision about my writing career, and we're going to talk about it. So first of all, can you guys believe that it is the end of August already? We have like 1 week left of August, and then it goes into like September, and fall will be here. Everybody will be having pumpkin spice everything, and then it's going to snow. And I'm not ready for it because I've loved summer. I've loved pool season. I'm really sad that the summer is coming to an end, but it is what it is. I hope all of you guys have had a good summer. I've had an summer. I've had some really amazing weeks and I've had some really bad weeks, but you know what? It's okay. I made it through and I'm ready for whatever comes next. So before we jump into my decision, which is not really a shocker because it's in the title, I did want to thank you guys because this has been such a roller coaster of emotions for the last several months here, just not knowing where I want to go, what I want to do. Some of you guys found me because I'm a writer that talks about writing. Some of you guys found me through NaNoWriMo writing sprints back in the day. And some of you guys found me just from romance and all kinds of other reasons. Some of you guys have been here since the beginning. You're the real MVPs because this channel has been a million different things. So I thank you guys for sticking around and for allowing me to have a voice. I get to sit down and talk to a camera and people actually listen. And it shocks me every day because it's crazy. And I'm so appreciative that you guys are here. But because you guys are here, I wanted to make sure that I announce my changes to you guys first because we talked about being open, honest, and transparent. And that is what we're going for today. So as you can tell from the title of this video, I have decided to switch my writing career and I wanted to explain the reason why I'm doing it. So this should come as no shock to anybody. If you've been following me, my writer update videos, all that kind of stuff, you probably saw this coming. I kind of saw it coming, but when I did my Q2 update, when did I do my Q2 update? Like what, a month ago or something? Like a month ago, a little over a month ago, I did my Q2 update. And at the time, I really was like, I think I'm going to go into young adult, blah, blah, because I just didn't know where I wanted to go. And after some really tough weeks in my personal life when it came to finances, home repairs, drama, family drama, I had a meltdown. And when Mary has a meltdown, who does she call? I call my big sister because, yes, I do. She is my free therapist. The joys of having a big sister. She gets to listen to all my problems. Anyway, so I called her up because that's what I do when I need to talk to somebody. And we were able to talk through a lot of things, not only about my writing career, but also about our podcast and just some changes we want to make in the future. So I was like, let's talk through it. Let's announce, let's chat, and let's just hit it. Okay. So full transparency, I don't want to write romance anymore. And here's why. I feel bad saying this, but here's the realization I had, right? I have been trying to build a romance career for over a decade. It's been over 10 years. I started, 14 years. I have been trying to build a romance career. And that romance career has gone nowhere. Now, there is a multitude of reasons why that is the case. I tried rebranding under a pen name, thinking that maybe I needed to rebrand myself. I tried different genres of romance. And at the end of the day, I'm realizing that I don't think that is my area of expertise. I don't think that I'm the world's best romance writer. I don't hate my stories, but I don't love them. I don't know how to market them. I don't know where to go with them. And the whole M.E. Laverne pen name didn't actually hurt more than it helped. Because anybody who followed me at the beginning as Mary Ellen Quigley didn't know who M.E. Laverne was. And even when I announced the change, half of my followers didn't follow. You know what I mean? I just don't think that it's not working. It's not working. It's not. I'm sitting here trying to build this career and spending so much time and energy trying to build this career that's going nowhere, and then trying to force myself to sit down and write these stories. And I have a ton of romance stories in my head. I do. I have like a whole 2 or 3 series worth of books planned in my head that I just love and I would love to write. But the passion is not there. The passion is not there. It is a checklist item to sit and write down a romance story. And I'm realizing that that is the problem. I'm not passionate about it. And because I'm not passionate about it, the quality is not good. The drive to do it is not there. And essentially, my career is going nowhere. And so I have been doing these. I want to be a writer, a full time writer in 5 years, or replace part of my income in 5 years, whatever my goals are. But you guys realize we've been doing those for like a year now, and I have made zero progress. We get on every time, and I tell you what I've learned and what I'm working on, and what I'm doing. I'm not making money. I'm not making progress on actually turning this into a career. I actually have become more scattered in the last year than I have become focused and moving forward. And when I was talking to my sister, I had the realization that the reason why this is happening is because I'm not focused. I am scattered. So, to kind of put this in perspective, I have multiple online personalities going on, right? So, I have got M.E. Laverne, romance writer, Mary Ellen Quigley, who's a writer who talks about writing in paranormal books. I have the podcast, which is Ghosts and Paranormal. I have a weight loss YouTube channel and Instagram and TikTok where I talk about losing weight. Then I've got my regular TikTok, which is just like a smorgasbord of all kinds of random stuff. And I am so scattered in what I'm doing. And I kept telling myself that that was okay because they were all under the umbrella of I'm a writer. But how can you grow if you're scattered? Because your energy is never really focused in one spot long enough to make progress. Your energy is constantly being split. And I'm realizing that that just doesn't work. And then I got to thinking about what is it that I am doing lately that I actually really enjoy. And you guys know because I've talked about this, I enjoy the nonfiction paranormal writing. I love paranormal because of the historical aspect of it. So, one of my favorite things about researching ghost stories, and my sister and I focus on Indiana, but I like to look at ghost stories from all around the world in the country. One of my favorite things about it is that you get to learn history while you do it. So, I have learned more Indiana history by researching ghost stories for the podcast than I did my entire time in school or in my adulthood since I left school. Like, for example, did you know that there was a breakfast cereal that predated Kellogg's Corn Flakes and was one of the top selling cereals across the country? That was made in Indiana. Did you know that? It was made in Columbus, Indiana, to be exact. Thomas Gaff, he was one of the founding fathers of Aurora, Indiana, and the famous owner of Hill Forest, which is a haunted mansion down there. Yeah, he had a cereal called Cerealine. Predated Kellogg's Corn Flakes, top selling cereal across the United States. He also helped found the yeast company. Was it Fleischmann? Fleischmann? This one? This yeast? This company? At the very beginning was the Gaff Fleischmann, however you say it, company. Indiana. I didn't know that. Did you know that? Because I didn't know that. The reason I found that out is because we researched the ghost stories at Hill Forest Mansion. And look, you're like, who cares? I think it's cool. And the reason I think it's cool is because so much history gets lost to time. It does, because people don't talk about it or they don't care, or they try to erase it if it's a bad history, right? But there's so much that we can learn. And when it comes also to passing it down to the next generation, most kids are not going to care that Thomas Gaff was a steamboat guy who founded several companies, who made the first breakfast. They don't care, but they will 100% sit down and listen to you talk about how his daughter haunts the mansion. Now you have a way to teach kids history or teach other people history in a way that's actually approachable, that they're going to listen to. Whereas before, they wouldn't have cared. And I love it. I love learning all the history. I love writing about it. I've got so many really cool like book ideas about different tales across not only Indiana, but just the country that I would love to talk about. And it's not a chore. I like sitting down and doing it. I like going to the library and researching. I like talking to local people and getting the stories passed down. I just like it. And so I thought, why don't I make that my area of expertise? Why don't I, instead of focusing on romance, why don't I just really hone in on the nonfiction paranormal local history stuff and become good at it. Because right now I'm not good at anything, but maybe I can actually become good at this. And so I talked to my sister and I said, I think I really want to just focus on the ghost stories, the folklore, the Indiana history. I really want to focus on that and just see where it goes, because right now the romance it's not doing anything. And any success that I have had in my writing career, any success at all, has come off of the paranormal and the podcast. So it makes sense to me that that's the trajectory I need to be going, because I actually enjoy it and I'm finding small successes with it. So that's where I'm going. My sister and I also had a discussion about the podcast. And for those of you who don't follow the podcast, you may not know the story. But my sister and I, the podcast took off around the same time that our dad passed away. So we got our book deal, we released our book, and we had a ton of appearances we did in 2023 that coincided with our book release. And then 2024, we had a lot of follow-up events, right? So we were doing a lot of paranormal stuff. We did Haunted America in Alton, Illinois, and we did several paranormal conferences and events. So 23 and 24 were really, really busy years for us. And I think that we both made a mistake. We did what we had to do, because you have a contract and you have obligations to your publisher that you have to follow and you have to do, right? Like, it's part of your contract. But we made the mistake of not taking the time to mourn and to really sit down and to think about what we were doing next. So to put this all in perspective, our dad passed away in May. We buried him, obviously. We had his big celebration of life party in the beginning of June. We had over his birthday. So his big celebration of life was on his birthday weekend. And the following week, we were at paranormal conventions. I mean, we were nonstop for like 2 years. And this year, when the season started back, we originally decided to come back early, because we were like, we don't want to lose our listeners during our off time. So if we take too long of a break, we're going to lose trajectory, we're going to lose followers, we're going to lose listeners. So let's just take a couple months off and come back and hit strong going. And that was a mistake, because we are burnt out. Our heart's not in it this season. You can tell by the delivery, the tone, the quality of the writing, that our heart isn't in it. And it's because we're burnt out. We're burnt out not really in the podcast as much as we are just in our personal life, and it's infiltrating the podcast. So there's a lot going on career-wise, financially, personal life drama, lots of changes in our personal lives, lots of financial struggle. There's a lot coming at us, and it's really hard when you're that highly stressed, dealing with health issues, which you guys know I've been dealing with. My sister is dealing with health issues with her and her husband, and our heart isn't in it. So we also had the discussion of, let's finish the season. Let's get through our Halloween episode, because we always end on the Halloween episode. And then let's take a break, and let's take a long break. And the reason we're taking a long break is because we're thinking that we probably will come back like summer of next year for the podcast, instead of in like the springtime. And the reason we're doing that is because we want to come back fully recharged and ready to go. We want to have good quality episodes, good researched episodes. We want to have a book in the works. We want to be ready to go for 2026, rather than, oh crap, a podcast episode is due, which is what we're doing this year because we're burnt out. And so we both had the discussion, and we were like, because I even told her, I'm like, do you want to give it up? And she's like, I don't want to give it up. And I was like, I don't want to give it up either, because I want to write more paranormal books and I want to get more involved in paranormal stuff. So I don't want to give up the podcast, because we already have an audience and a following on the podcast, but we also owe our listeners and our followers better quality stuff. Because right now, honestly, we kind of, excuse the language, it was kind of a half-assed season, and we need to be better than that. So we have decided that we're going to make it through the rest of this season, and we are taking the break. We are going to back out of appearances, and instead we are refocusing. So we need to sit down and go back to basics with the podcast. So we're taking a break, but I'm actually excited about the break because I know where my focus is. So while we're on the break, I can focus on finishing our books that we're working on, researching my own paranormal books that I want to start, researching how to make the podcast better. Just because we're off doesn't mean we're off. It just means that we're doing some behind the scenes work so that we can have better quality next year when we launch again. So, what does that mean for you? Because you're here and you're like, what does that mean for me? Well, honestly, it just means that my content's going to be changing a little bit, right? So if you came here because you write romance and you wanted to be with a fellow romance writer, that's where things are going to change because writing romance and writing fiction is very different than writing nonfiction. I think that we can both learn from each other. I 100% think that a fiction writer can teach a lot to a nonfiction writer and vice versa. But if you're here to learn about like plotting and how to create tension and how to create character conflict, I'm probably not the person who's going to be talking about that anymore. Instead, I'm going to be talking more about the nonfiction side of writing. And, I'm still going to talk about basic things like planning and editing and reaching out to get publishers and all the normal writing stuff. But just when we're talking about the actual writing process, that's going to look a little different because you're going to see it be nonfiction, local history, paranormal type stuff. And that's really the big major change. But I'm not going anywhere. I'm still going to do author updates. I will still keep you guys updated on whatever I'm working on. It's just going to be a different type of writing that we're focusing on rather than romance. I love ghost stories, and one of my personal goals is to focus more on the Hoosier Myths and Legends podcast, TikTok, and all of those social medias because a lot of my author talk videos could also be translated over to that because that's going to be the focus. So I'm excited about it. I'm looking forward to, switching up the content a little bit, having more fun with it, and going from there. So I hope you guys come along. If you don't, I completely understand. It's not the end, it's just a new chapter. Editing Mary here because my mic cut out and died at the very end. So I was just finishing up the video by saying that I would love to hear from you guys. What are you guys working on lately that you're really excited about? Tell me about it in the comment section below, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.